Good evening, everyone. You are all very welcome to MU Live this evening. I am delighted to be joined by my dear colleague, Deirdre Carroll, who's in the background there. She works with me in the admissions office. She is going to be helping me drop in any useful links or contacts that we might need throughout our session. I'm also joined by Dermot Stiles, who is Programme Director and Lecturer on the Entrepreneurship degree. CAO code for that is MH411. And I'm also delighted to be joined by a very recent graduate, Luke Joyce, who is the MD of the cleaning company.ie. So he is here to talk about his experience on the entrepreneurship degree and a little bit about also his company and how he set it up. So a little bit of housekeeping before we start. I suppose I better introduce myself. My name is Fionnuala Finnegan and I am the Student Recruitment Officer at Maynooth University. Delighted to be here. If you can look at the bottom of your screen there, folks, you can see that we have a number of little helpful tools. There's a Q&A box and there's a chat box. If I could prompt you to use the Q&A box to pop in any questions that you might have, and we hope that you've lots of questions for us because we'd only be delighted to take them. Whatever kind of questions that you have, either for myself or Dermot or Luke or even Deirdre there, pop them into the Q&A and we will go through those as they come up. And that is about it. The session is being recorded. So if you can't stay for the entire thing, or if you know of someone who maybe wanted to join us but was unable to join us tonight, it will be available to be reviewed and rewatched at any time from tomorrow afternoon on. So without further ado, I am going to hand you over now to Dermot, who's going to give you a presentation and we're going to chat about all things entrepreneurship related. So thank you so much.
Good evening, folks. As Fionnuala said, my name is Dermot Stiles. I am the Programme Director for the Entrepreneurship Programme, code MH411. I also lecture on the programme in international marketing. And what I wanted to do tonight is simply, in a very quick few slides, is just try to introduce you to entrepreneurship and how we teach entrepreneurship in Maynooth University and what we offer you as potential students in Maynooth University through the course. So if you bear with me for a second, I will go into share screen. Hopefully I will. It's great fun when the same computer we're talking about is still acting up. Bear with me.
We're all good. We've been very lucky this season. We did have a number of glitches last season, but we've been very lucky. There we go. Sure, look, magic. Brilliant.
Okay, so can you tell me now, Fionnuala?
We can see it lovely.
Are you okay with seeing it in that view, or
do you want to try presentation mode? Just to, and see how it goes. Fingers crossed. That's it, lovely. That's brilliant.
Okay.
Now,
right, okay. So as I said, just to introduce you to the entrepreneurship program, which is MH411. Briefly, what I want to do is just to talk a little bit about what is entrepreneurship, because I know as students, it's a word that we bandy around quite a bit. So I just want to introduce it, have a look at entrepreneurship in Maynooth University in particular, guide you through the first, second, third year, what we have, and then some of the more exciting pieces around the program, which would include our industry partners, the work placement element, the employability, and again, some of the other extra elements that Maynooth University can bring to students who study there on the entrepreneurship program. So look, on a very basic level, there's lots of different definitions of what entrepreneurship is. On a very basic level, it's about individuals, small groups of people, partners, and as we see it, it's about people who strike out on what we'd like to refer to as an original path to create a new business. Hence, we have the likes of Luke, who's here with us tonight to talk, because it's someone who's able to create their own business. Again, just to add to that, it's not just about creating your own business, because now there's lots of entrepreneurial businesses that are bigger. So larger corporations, but encourage people with an entrepreneurial spirit to come work for them. And that's an exciting area that's opened up. Now, typical entrepreneurs have unique skills, abilities, characteristics, including being curious. So that curiosity leads to new ideas, leads to new inventions. Flexible and adaptable, which I'm sure Luke will refer to, because you know, more and more business is not about being stuck in the same kind of route and doing it the same ways it's always been done or the same ways other people do it, and having a passion and being motivated to do something about a problem or an issue that you want to solve. So here are some very famous, I wanted to concentrate on well-known Irish entrepreneurs that may be familiar to people, and it's a big mix because what we've got is really well known. We have the Collison brothers who have developed Stripe, which is now a multi-billion-dollar business. They're now homed in the US, but have just brought the business all around the world, including Ireland. Wayflyer are two other Irish entrepreneurs who have just turned into another unicorn in the business world, which is again another business worth $1 billion. Two Irish entrepreneurs. Flipdish, two more Irish entrepreneurs, again unicorn status. And then we have two sisters from Galway, the Craven sisters, who've started a business called what it is a business that from their profession, like all good entrepreneurs, they spotted an opportunity and a gap in the market. And the Craven sisters went out and they produced a whole new range under the Spotlight brand of electric toothbrushes, toothpaste, and all the rest. And again, it's hugely popular in Ireland and it's moved into the US. So all these people had common characteristics. They went out and they solved a gap, a problem, an issue in the marketplace, and they've made it huge. We don't have to look beyond Ireland. We have some hugely successful entrepreneurs in Ireland. So why study entrepreneurship? So look, 99% of all businesses in Ireland, small, medium, micro, often referred to as SMEs. So it's 99% of all businesses in Ireland are SMEs. That is a group of people who've gone out to create their own business. It's the same across Europe, 5 million businesses. And these businesses, these entrepreneurial businesses, they contribute to huge economic activity. So setting up your own business, working for yourself, it's really realistic now because of programs like the Entrepreneurship program in Maynooth, where people come and learn how to apply their skills, their ambition, and combine it with the learnings from the program to go out and set up on their own, or as I said, to contribute to other entrepreneurial businesses. Really, entrepreneurs now are driving our growth. One important part of the entrepreneurship creation building block in Maynooth is the Eden Centre. So we have a dedicated centre for entrepreneurship in Maynooth. And what that centre does is it actively trains and coaches students to be creative, imaginative, and more entrepreneurial. And then run courses in brainstorming, visualization, storytelling, all of these things. When we talk about brands these days, we talk about the storytelling behind the brand and how it's what attracts customers. So Maynooth goes strongly to encourage an entrepreneurial spirit and to drive that mindset. And that's one of the, the real building blocks and the driving forces behind our entrepreneurial program in Maynooth University. As I said, the program aims to build an entrepreneurial mindset. So that could be to create your own business or to innovate and adapt existing businesses. So again, remember, it's not always starting a business from scratch, but it's people who are driven enough, curious enough, and motivated enough to take an existing idea and make it better and grow it. How do we do it? Yeah, we do it through what you expect when you go to university. There's learnings and there's academia, but it's also, in our case, it's a lot of interaction with real businesses. And this is in your class through placements, projects, and I'll cover more of that later. It's the learning experiences that you learn about the process of entrepreneurship, the process of innovation, another very big buzzword in the business world. And you learn how to manage a business, because it's not all about the idea. It's about managing that idea into a real business. And Maynooth offers options when we use that term entrepreneurship. We have what we're talking about mostly, which is our BBS in entrepreneurship. But we also offer opportunities to study entrepreneurship through 4 other degrees, which offer some of the similar subjects, but would have a sway towards, say, our degree in marketing, our degree in international business. But our BBS in entrepreneurship really drives the whole building blocks of entrepreneurship throughout the 3 or 4 years if you choose. So quickly, I'll walk you through so you have a good idea that in your first year, you're going to get to study the core processes of entrepreneurship, both in a small and SME context and in a large multinational context. So you learn about SME entrepreneurship. You learn about then the building blocks of all businesses, business models, marketing. So how do you bring your products, your ideas to market? Managing innovation. So also the different landscapes. So in other words, what's the business world made up of, both here and internationally, and accounting and economics. So with any entrepreneurship program, it's not all about, I mean, we'd love it to just be about you come in on an idea and we say, hey, turn that idea into a business. But as Luke, I'm sure will attest to later on, to run a successful business, you need to know the cores as well. So we teach you those cores in your first year, as well as the SME entrepreneurship. In the second year, we build on the first year and we look at the challenges and opportunities for entrepreneurs. And we allow, so the idea, ideation. So in other words, how do you create those ideas for new businesses, for improving, and how do you then scale them to become a real business? So again, the modules that are offered in second year, we have entrepreneurship theory, the processes and the practice. So from start to finish, how do you enter into that entrepreneurship journey? We have marketing, we have human resource. Remember, all businesses are about people at the end of the day. So not only will we teach you the fundamentals of business, but we teach you some of the fundamentals of people management, because people are going to be key, whether they're your staff or whether they are your customers. You interact with people all the time. Project management, how to manage all the projects. Every part of a business turns into a project. And then some of the core pieces like your information systems and your IT systems. So lots of businesses are now automated. And as you'll be used to as digital natives, like online digital business and the growth of online and digital business through the last 2 years, through our, do we dare mention the C word of COVID? So again, we teach you how to build all those elements together to run a business successfully. Just to break our talk about the actual years, just to give you an idea of some of the businesses that Maynooth and the Maynooth Entrepreneurship Program have worked with over the years. You're going to see some of the big brands like Kerry Foods, some of the smaller brands like Expert Hardware, some of the financial brands, AIG, are supporting partners like Enterprise Ireland. So we work across the full range of businesses, from small to large, from national to international, to bring them in, to allow you to work with them, whether that's presenting, whether that's working on projects with them, whether that's actually going on workplace with some of these firms. But again, that's bringing both the academic and the practical together within the program, which means that when you leave the program, that's the experience that you bring with you as a student of entrepreneurship from Maynooth. There's also an option, you will also have the opportunity, which, sorry guys, there's, yes, sorry, you will also have the option of work placement or study abroad. And this is a choice you can make to convert your 3-year program into a 4-year program. There's opportunities for paid work placement to study in the EU or even in America for a year. And again, that's allowing students of Maynooth to gain international experience during their study within the entrepreneurship program. In the final year, we'll take a strategic approach, and sorry, bear with me. In your final year, we take a more strategic approach. So that's taking your first, your second year with all your learnings and allowing you to build it into strategy and how strategy works overall for business. We'll have some core modules, like, you know, sometimes when people talk about entrepreneurship, they do forget about the area of social entrepreneurship. So again, in Ireland right now, social entrepreneurship is a really growing area where people are using their entrepreneurial skills to build businesses that benefit society as a whole. So that's another area we'll explore. And each year we adapt the program to make sure that we're tuning into that environment, that business and marketing environment, with areas such as sustainability and sustainable business and responsible management. So sustainability being such a huge driver of business in our economy and internationally, So these are the areas that we'll adapt to teach you and bring you through those. And then we have the optional areas, which I mentioned earlier about, we all realize that with online now and digital business. So we look at the areas of social media, marketing, and multinational management, as well as management information systems. So again, it's covering the full scope of what you need to know to build and manage a successful business. We're not saying that you're the individual after taking the program that's going to do all of these things. But again, I'm sure, which Luke will attest to, when you start a business and it's a small business, you do end up doing a lot of roles at the start until you scale that business and you bring in the individuals who are expert in those areas. But we'll equip you with both sets of skills. Again, I talked about, it's not just about the academic side of things. It's about working with interesting businesses. Here's just an example of, the brand is Mia Chocolate, but Mia Chocolate is actually a brand from Africa who are looking to grow a business. So entrepreneurs themselves who are looking to grow a business and expand into Europe. And what we do is we work with an organization called Proudly Made in Africa. And the two people there are representatives with two of our students in the middle. And we worked with Proudly Made in Africa to help brands like Mia Chocolate actually develop the brand and market the brand. So that was projects that were actually undertaken by students like yourselves in the program who ran real projects for real companies and helped them grow their brand. You also get to pitch your ideas. So you'll see here on the screen, IAPI, which is the Irish Advertising Practitioners Institute in Ireland. So IAPI, join us as, again, another partner. And what IAPI add to it is, IAPI is the organization that works with all the professional marketing, advertising, PR agencies in Ireland. So they work with us as a partner to lend their expertise to students on the program. Here again, Keith is the marketing director of IAPI. And Keith will come in along with colleagues and he will help us train students on the entrepreneurship program how to pitch, how to deliver pitches, how to market their products, and help us train and judge how well the students are doing, and then help them to adapt pitches for businesses in the future. So that's another element that we bring into the program. We also offer, you may be able to see the name on the pull-ups, the Enactus program or group within Maynooth, and this is for social entrepreneurship. So again, it's an opportunity to go out there with real ideas and work with Enactus for those of you who are more interested in the social entrepreneurship side of things. So we want to bring the experience and mix the experience of the business side, the small side, the corporate side, and the social entrepreneurship. Questions which we get asked, which I'm sure Fionnuala gets asked, parents and students who are looking about which module, which course, which university do we attend. So we'll be real and we'll answer the employability side. So at the end of the day, the entrepreneurship program is part of our business school, which is widely recognized throughout Ireland, Europe, and through partners in the US. So our business degrees, which our entrepreneurship program is one of, is rated as one of the most employable degrees in Ireland. Recruiters, again, which we would go out and we would work with and we would survey, they put business as the first or second and most employable degree that you can take in Ireland at the moment. And with employers seeking different skills, again, as I brought you through the program, all the way through the program, we're teaching you the academic skills, the practical skills, and then the transferable skills that run all the way through the program and will help you if it's not the case that you'll go out straight away and set up your own business. But as I said, you may want to join and be recruited into other businesses. So the key details for the program, as Fionnuala said at the very beginning, MH 411. The points in 2021 were 378. Again, no one can predict where the points are going to go. You will have a wide variety of choice when you arrive. That's the beauty of Maynooth. And there is no need, you don't have to be worried that you haven't studied business or entrepreneurship before you arrive in Maynooth. We teach the entrepreneurship. the program will adapt, and it does suit people who haven't studied business before. So just remember that with Maynooth, you are considering a wonderful, a vibrant university. We will help you succeed, and we'd love to see you choose the University of Maynooth as your place of study for the next 3 to 4 years. Now, if you do have questions, you can always contact the business school in Maynooth, which is business@mu.ie. Just to end, because I did concentrate on Irish entrepreneurs earlier on, I'm still going to put up, now unfortunately deceased, but if people don't recognize who this gentleman is, and I say Apple, this man is Steve Jobs, who was the man, the driving force between Apple, or behind Apple. And Steve always talked about making a difference. And one of his phrases was about putting a ding in the universe. And if I go back to my stats again, about 99% of businesses in this country are entrepreneurial businesses set up by entrepreneurs. They're the real people who put a ding in the universe, who make a difference, who can change, who can adapt, and it will be the driving forces into the future as well. So obviously, I'd like to say I'd love to see you in Maynooth next year, the year after. We'd look forward to seeing that. Again, if there's any questions, we're happy to have you come to us with those questions. And hopefully Luke's going to back up some of the stuff I've said, and we'll hand you back to Fionnuala. So thank you for your time.
That was a close call. I almost shut down my computer trying to unmute myself. Phew. Thank you so much. That was so informative. I've learned so much. I had absolutely no idea that the statistic was so high, Dermot, that 99% of businesses in Ireland are run by entrepreneurs or small, what are classed as small or medium enterprises. And I might kick off the questioning, by the way. You mentioned unicorns twice. Excuse my ignorance, but what have unicorns and people setting up businesses got in common for the ignorant like myself?
Well, I guess it's not one of the things we're great at in the business world, and certainly in the marketing world. This is where I lie, is all these lovely terms. So in simple terms, a unicorn in the business world is a business that has reached a valuation of $1 billion.
Wow.
So the two of the businesses that I mentioned, Flipdish and Wayflyer, are Wayflyer, if I'm right, Wayflyer only started in 2016, 2017. We're at 2022. They're now valued at over $1 billion. Now, unicorns are rare, but the funny side, in a good way, is that unicorns are becoming less rare. And that just shows the drive that Irish entrepreneurs really have. So that's the unicorn piece. It's really on that valuation side. Yeah. But, you know, the $1 billion bit isn't where we're all going to get. It's not necessarily where we all aim for. But at the end of the day, I think, and again, obviously Luke will talk strongly on this, but I think the idea is that pure satisfaction of you take something and you grow it. Hey, if it hits that unicorn status, brilliant.
Amazing.
That's an added bonus.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. So yeah, Luke, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I suppose we'll start at the beginning, and maybe not the very, very beginning, but I suppose what prompted you to choose entrepreneurship at Maynooth? So how did you come about the course, and how did you find the time on the course?
Yeah, so I and thanks for asking me to be on, by the way, and have the chat. But I knew kind of in secondary school, well, I knew very, very young age, kind of primary school, that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I was always kind of having tiny little businesses like small car washes and stuff from a very young age, and writing magazines to sell to family and stuff like that. So I always was very entrepreneurial. My dad would have been, so it's kind of in the family or in the blood. So I always knew I wanted to do that. And then in secondary school, I remember looking at is it the CAO? Is that what it's called? They fill out the courses, and I trawled through the full. We had a guidance counselor once a week, and I trawled through everything. And there was only two at the time. I'm not sure what that was. That would have been 2015, 2016. There was only two entrepreneurial degrees in Ireland. One was in Dunleary, was a level 7, and then there was the one in Maynooth, was the level 8. So they were the only two things I actually put on my CAO, was Maynooth number 1 and in case I didn't get the points, I had Dunleary number 2, and I did get the points, thankfully. So I was able to choose from. I think it was. I kind of wanted to go to Maynooth because I remember chatting to my uncle. He's an art lecturer in Dunleary, and he's in Singapore as well. And he kind of, even though he's a lecturer there, he kind of veered me away from Dunleary and towards Maynooth because it was a university, and the University of Ireland, as Dermot said, it's more recognised as a good degree and as a good quality degree. So I put Maynooth down, and I thankfully got it then. So I started in, I think it was 2015, either 2015, 2016. I graduated in 2019. So so it's take 4 years off that. But so that's when I kind of went in and got the entrepreneurship degree. So I wasn't really 100% sure whether to actually go to college or not, because I suppose I had in my head that entrepreneurs maybe don't go to university. They kind of just go, most of them seem to drop out of school before they leave cert and go off and do stuff. But I hadn't. I was more
like Branson.
Yeah, like a lot of them are kind of just, they're not very academic, where I kind of was. I was good in school, and I enjoyed going to school, I enjoyed studying. So I kind of wanted to do the degree, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I had about 10,000 ideas of what I would do, but I had nothing kind of concrete. So I wasn't 100% sure what I would go and do. So that's why I went in to Maynooth, hoping to find or kind of generate or pick up on some idea that I would start that as a business. And I suppose
How did you enjoy your time on the degree? Was it what you thought it might be going in? Were you pleasantly surprised? Are there any kind of modules or areas of the degree that really kind of stick out for you? Because I mean, you did launch the cleaning company while you were on the degree, am I right?
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. I was working doing part-time kind of window cleaning, gutter cleaning, just out of the back of a Toyota Yaris. So it was nothing fancy at the time. And that's when I was in. That was just paying for college and paying for college nights out and stuff. That's about as far as the money went. So I suppose in Maynooth then on the course we did modules such as kind of, there was one very entrepreneurial, I think it was actually called Entrepreneurship, or was something along them lines, or maybe it was innovation and something. And that's where I really kind of got going on kind of different ideas. And we did kind of big projects. And I remember in final year we did a mini thesis or a mini dissertation on our own idea and whatever we wanted that to be. So mine was my own business. And I kind of selfishly took, it was a group project. So there was 7 of us, and they were all working on my business idea. So that was great, because that's kind of 7 college heads all working towards it. So no, the time on the course was brilliant. There was the MIA chocolate reminded me as well. I completely forgot that we did the African, what's the name of the
Proudly Made in Africa?
Proudly Made in Africa. We did Equetta. It was Equetta shoes.
That's right, yeah, because I suppose, Fionnuala, I would have just mentioned Mia, but the great thing about Proudly Made in Africa is that we had the opportunity to work with several businesses. And I guess, like, you know, Luke, you would have got this, that those businesses were absolutely businesses looking to make a profit, but there was nearly a piece of the social entrepreneurship there as well, because what we were doing was we're helping businesses that really didn't have the resources, you know, from where they had their origins in Africa to break into the European market. So they were very grateful to have Maynooth work with them. But then, Lucas, you know, as you were saying, for the students, this was real. This was what they were doing was really going to, you know, help make or break this business. Sure.
There's a real life practical application of what you're learning in the classroom, in your groups, that is applied to African companies who would like our assistance and our ideas. Is that something that takes place year on year? Or it just happenstance that it was the year Luke was there? And
it'll vary. I mean, we, you know, if Luke, you did the 4-year or the 3-year? Did you take the extra year?
I took a year out to work on my business, so it was 4 years long. Yeah.
So let's say that was 2015. So Fionnuala, I can tell you, so it not this year or last year, but the year before. So whatever, 2019, Proudly Made in Africa would have been in there again. But in the interim, it'll always have, whether it's Proudly Made in Africa or not, it'll always have an element to it. I know that in second year, for the last year or two, we've worked with the one of the larger charities here in Ireland as well. to help them develop their charity shops. So again, that's the social entrepreneurship piece, but working side by side with developing a business, because the charity wants it to turn a profit.
Sure.
And if you don't mind, one key thing that Luke did say there is that, so Luke, you were talking about you had 1,000 ideas.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that, whether it's within the entrepreneurship program or just in general business, it's the one thing that, we talk a lot about, because we all have ideas. Everyone has ideas. We all have lots of ideas. But the difference between some people who have ideas and the entrepreneur is they turn the idea into a business. And that's the difference. And that's the bit that, like Luke pretty much described that story. I'm hoping that some of the people who are tuned in with us here tonight is you have that idea. And as Luke said, again, there's lots of stories about all these guys. Oh, they didn't go to school and they just went for it. Now we hear the success stories, but the beauty of having that idea and doing what Luke did, which is to come and attend an entrepreneurship program within Maynooth, is you learn how to set up a business. Yeah. And then you lay that together with your idea, and now your idea turns into a business. And I guess that's one of the keys. And that's really what Luke brought out there as well.
When did you know that this was it, that you were going to launch the cleaning company as a fully fledged business? Was it after the group project that you'd done, Luke?
It was no, it was actually a bit before that. It was I suppose it was year 2, leading into what was going to be maybe year 3. I was going to, that's the idea. Because I was using the cleaning company.ie as so all the theory we were learning in a lecture, I was always applying that to it just made much more sense in my head to apply what we were learning to my own idea or an actual business, because I could, like, marketing techniques, you can learn them all day long, but if you don't have if you can't say, right, well, this might work here with an actual real life idea, like at Quetta, we were actually doing, it was a real life project for a real life company, so you can actually apply the stuff you're learning in a lecture into the real world. That's where you really learn. Well, that's where I really learned. So I suppose it was year 2, I decided I was going to kind of continue on with the exterior cleaning idea that I had, and to push on with that. So that's why in year 3, what I call year 3, I actually took a gap year and just got going on the business. And then year 4 was final year, and that's when we were doing kind of bigger projects and bigger kind of scale stuff, that I was able to start really knuckling down and kind of fine tuning stuff, and getting kind of bouncing ideas off lecturers and bouncing ideas off other students who are all very intelligent as well. So that was brilliant. That was like, it was a perfect kind of think tank to get going on the business before I launched it. So I had an awful lot of groundwork done before I actually graduated in 2019, and then my first full year was 2020, and it's grown.
Oh, very good. Were you nervous at all? I mean, seeing your friends, obviously Dermot outlined the degree structure there, year 1 and 2, and your third year, then you could either go into work placement paid or not, or go abroad on Erasmus for a year. I mean, you must have been looking at friends kind of going into already established business or going abroad, and then you opt for the gap year. Were you nervous about how it would pan out, or were you just always like, no, I'm absolutely going to back myself 100% and off I go?
I suppose I was kind of had a bit of FOMO on the lads heading to, and the girls heading on the Erasmus, because the Erasmus was, each and every one of them who went said it was the best thing they've ever done in their life. So I was kind of back in Dublin looking at these, having the time of their life. Now looking back, I'm delighted I did it. It was definitely the right decision for me, and it was the right decision for them to do the Erasmus, because they loved it. Sure. And they have friends who they still regularly see, and they all meet up in Europe somewhere every year, stuff like that. So it was the right decision for them. But yeah, it was kind of like, have I done the right thing here? I mean, just after kind of taking a year out for nothing, but thankfully it wasn't. And I think I made the right decision in the end.
Great. Was it easy to make friends on the degree? And did you, obviously there's a lot going on in the degree. It seems quite diverse and a dynamic degree, but did you get involved in any other kind of clubs and SOCs that are available at the university, or how did you integrate?
So I suppose first year it was for me, it was actually a little, I kind of knew a few people going in from my school, so we were kind of all joined at the hip for the first kind of 6 months, and weren't really weren't really mingling or mixing with anyone. There was kind of three of it, and we were all in the same kind of lectures. So that wasn't great because we were just in our shell a bit and kind of among ourselves. But then I joined the snow sports club, which again was another great decision because I've met the friends that I've met in that snow sports club are still, there's kind of 3 or 4 of them are probably, I'd consider them kind of still my best friends. I'd see them very regularly. And that was just the off chance that they do the clubs and socks event, is it, where you go and kind of
Freshers Week.
Yeah, and I just signed up for the snow sports club and then went on their trips. So we went away to France, then the following year went to Italy, and then the following year went to France again.
Oh, very good.
So that was brilliant. That was kind of my best memories in probably in Maynooth was those trips were fantastic and met really good people. And a lot of them were actually in my course and my lectures. So we were able to kind of get together and do groups and stuff like that. So that's where I really met a lot of people was only when I kind of started to join the clubs and society. So I'd strongly encourage anyone, even if it's not something you've done. Like I'd be a big GAA head and I joined the GAA team, but I already have a GAA club and I have friends in that. So I decided to do something completely different with the snow sports, and that was brilliant too.
Yeah, fantastic. If you were to give a bit of advice, I suppose, and that is one solid bit of advice that we could give students that are considering coming to Maynooth on the entrepreneurship degree or not, and we hope definitely you are, but is to get involved in the clubs and societies and maybe not be shy about that, because it is kind of a way to make friends and things. Yeah. Another bit of advice, I suppose, you were lucky enough, Luke, in that you escaped the sort of the experience of being on campus during COVID. But now that we're hopefully coming out the other side of that, maybe Dermot as well might chip in with an answer. But what kind of tips would you give students to, if we were thinking about starting fresh this year, sort of COVID times compared to non-COVID times and coming on campus? How can you make sure as a student that you're successful at the program throughout your studies?
Luke, do you want to go?
You go first, Dermot.
Luke's going to gather his thoughts. Yeah, I mean, Fionnuala, it's been a strange one because obviously, you know, I've lived through the on-campus pre-COVID, during COVID, and now we're post-COVID. And at the moment, I'm lecturing on campus again. And again, I think this all nicely ties together because Luke mentioned, you know, really he talked about choice. Because when you think about, like, you know, Luke did 2 years, made a choice, went out, used that experience to start a business, made a choice, came back, finished, and then used that 3rd year to build that business. Then as you asked, you know, what about looking at the other people who went on that year, on that Erasmus year? So there's other people who had a choice to do that. And that's the thing about studying, like the entrepreneurship program is part of a bigger business community in Maynooth. So we don't grab those students who decide to study entrepreneurship and put them into a little room by themselves, because those core business modules means that you get to study and learn with lots of other students. So that's that opportunity now that we're back on campus. And again, Luke, I'd put it to you that you might want to comment on this in a few minutes, but business is about people. You know, they say in sales that you don't necessarily buy a brand, people buy from people, because brands can be the same, but it's the person who's selling it. So that opportunity to come onto a campus like Maynooth, and I'm not from Maynooth. In all full disclosure, I didn't study in Maynooth, but you know what? Now that I've taught at Maynooth, I would, because Maynooth offers this beautiful campus in a town that I would say is just big enough and small enough so everyone goes out in the same place. It's because, let's be honest, meeting people and being social, that's part of that college experience. So it's not like getting lost in Dublin, you know, and I attended a university, which I won't name, in Dublin. It's big and you get lost. There's a big community spirit on Maynooth and on the campus. And I think now that people can get back onto that campus, they can meet their fellow entrepreneurship students. Like Luke said, you bounce those ideas. You meet a much bigger community of business students who will have other experiences to, again, you know, share. And then within the different societies and that social life, which is hugely important on the Maynooth campus, you go off and you try completely different things, because like Luke said, we all have our different lives. If people decide they're traveling to Maynooth because they live in a different part of the country, that's one life, but you get to come and try new things. So I think the on-campus experience, again, as far as I'm concerned, is wonderful, because there is nothing to replace that, person to person. And those people, which again, to finish on, Luke said it, and I'm still the same. And I know it's hard to believe, but I'm a good bit older than Luke. I know it's hard to tell by the hair color, but those people that you meet in college, they're still really good friends of mine. And they're still the people who to this day, because as well as Maynooth, I do run my own consultancy business. They're the people who ring you to say, listen, we know such and such, and they want to talk to you. So, a lot of business, we have to be real about this. And, in that world of business is done through people knowing people. So on campus, meeting
Connections.
people is great. Connections is a huge part. So as I said, Luke alluded to a lot of that in different ways as he talked.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we might have a question in here, guys. Very good. Amazing. Do you need to be good at maths to successfully undertake the entrepreneurship degree at Maynooth?
No.
I'm absolutely terrible at maths, and I made it just fine. The only one I suppose would be the economic stuff that you would do, but again, it's not very mathsy. It's more no, I'm terrible at maths. I always have been, and unfortunately, I always will be. And I was absolutely fine. I never had a problem with even the accountancy side of things. You're allowed to bring in a calculator most of the time. So no, maths isn't really an issue at all with it.
No,
very good.
And again, we have to remember, in college, lecturers are there. And at the end of the day, as I say to my students, everyone starts off at 100%. Lecturers are there to keep you doing well. We want students to do well. And the degree offers such a wide choice that, like, those maths-based modules aren't going to decide your final grade. They're a part of, but there's such a mix that it's that mix. So people who are good at maths,
don't be afraid.
No, they're going to excel.
And actually, don't be afraid. And also, bringing us nicely onto the supports that are available at Maynooth. If you felt like you did need some support, either in academic writing or in math support, you can contact the centre and the math centre, and you can get individual or group tuition. But it doesn't seem like it's too heavy on the mathematics. Important also to mention, we might have a couple of QQI people here. I know, Luke, you were toying with the idea of whether to come into the university if you got the points, and if you didn't get the points, then maybe to go on to a PLC, which is a really, really valid plan B. Let's be honest, because lots of PLCs have links into our university. And Deirdre might pop in the QQI link there if she would be so good. But there are 5 places available for people presenting with a level 5 QQA into the entrepreneurship degree. I don't know exactly the points, because they're probably in around the 341. If I was to guess, they're similar to the other business degrees, but you do need either an 04H7 and leaving cert maths, or a distinction in a maths module, which will probably be featuring in your PLC anyway. So thank you so much, Deirdre. That's important to mention as well. If there are any other questions, folks, please do pop them in. That was absolutely excellent. So coming back to Luke there in the last couple of minutes, what do you attribute your success to, Luke? Your success both in business, I suppose, and I know it's only early days, but also on the degree itself. What kind of pointers would you give students here today that were considering the degree?
I suppose if you the biggest kind of benefit for me was having an idea and being able to use that to learn, and being able, even if you want to just make up one, if you have no idea whatsoever, just make one up, just whatever it is, something very, it doesn't have to be something outrageously techie or the next unicorn company. It's like, as long as it's just something attributable to the stuff that you're learning, it will help a lot to learn. I, for not 1 second when I went in first year, thought I would be running a cleaning company. It's just the way things went, and it's the way I applied stuff, and I thought there was a bit of a gap there. And kind of went for it, and that was just a part-time job at the time, and I was even a bit embarrassed in the final year when everyone was getting jobs with the big four, the big five, is it the accountancy companies. I was telling them I was going I was going back cleaning windows, but it's kind of worked out that it's we've kind of a fleet of vans now, and do kind of good work for the government and stuff, and that all came from just applying those things that I was learning to the idea I had at the time, which was the idea that I eventually launched when I left university. So that was the biggest thing. And I suppose the other thing, just outside, as you mentioned as well, Fionnuala, was, and Dermot, was the campus. Like, do as much possible things as you can, because that's a huge part of the college life that you probably, maybe guidance counselors aren't telling you, or it's all very academically based, whereas Maynooth isn't. It's very, very social, and the town itself is brilliant. The whole, you can go down for your lunch, restaurants, just try to get into as many clubs and do as many different things as you can, because that is a massive part, and that will make you enjoy going to college an awful lot more. Like, I loved, I just see your background, Fionnuala, is the library. Like, the library was actually a fun place to go back then, as mad as it sounds, because you'd be going in with your friends, you'd do a few hours, you'd go down for lunch, and you go back in, do another few hours, go outside, go for a walk with them. It was all,
You've sleeping pods there now. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think they came in the year I was leaving. Yeah, they were real futuristic looking. Are they the kind of domes?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Yeah. What about the person, though? I'm just thinking, what about the person that loves the idea, likes all of the different modules that are on offer on the degree, but doesn't necessarily have an idea, or maybe even halfway through the degree doesn't have an idea? Where are these graduates now that maybe they've gone into an existing company, Dermot? What kind of areas would they be working in? And I suppose you're chatting with them all the time.
Yeah, and again, the idea piece is not essential at all, because it's more about, because that degree, like I said, it's not necessarily that people are coming in with the idea that after 3 years, they're going out and they have an idea and they're setting up their own business. Because the very least you're going to leave with is you're going to have those fundamental skills, those transferable skills to work in business, which is, as we said, is the most employable area. So, like, a lot of people will, like Luke mentioned nowadays, that they are working for the big tech. I mean, Ireland's alive with the Googles, the Facebooks, the HubSpots, and then you'll hear some of those really big success stories are later on. So people have taken their university, their learnings, they've gone, they have, trained with and learned more in another business setting, and then they have gone on to set up their own business. And more of those big tech companies that, again, let's be honest, some of the people who are tuned in and lots of people that I talk to, that's a dream. They want to work for the big techie guys. But those big techie guys are now talking about those transferable skills. So, do you know marketing? Can you present? Do you actually know how a business works? So, because if you know those things, they are the skills that you can bring anywhere. And that, again, is that the program gives you that wide level of experience. And again, just to stress to people, it is not about grabbing a small group of people who decide to specifically take the entrepreneurship program and putting them into a room by themselves. You share the lectures, you share the modules and the subjects with the other business students. So you take the foundations, you build. If you have the idea, we'll help you develop that idea. If you don't have the idea, we give you the skills to go out into the working world. And hey, you may end up growing your career within one of the bigger multinationals, or you may take the route of going your own way, which Luke said. And it's funny when, Luke mentioned stuff which you hear sometimes about, the big tech thing is such a, I think some people aspire to be. And as you said there, Luke, you're going, there's nearly a bit of, geez, I'm setting up a cleaning company. But, more and more that's stopping, because people are recognizing that it's actually people. Let's go back to our SMEs. They're the people who are building the employment, who are driving the economy. So that cleaning company is the one who gets to charge those big tech companies with their fancy buildings and loads of gutters and loads of windows. So Luke's the guy who gets to go over and say, give me the money, please, because I'm running the business. So look, it allows that variety. So we have students who are working in Ireland, who are working abroad, who've set up small, medium enterprises, and who are involved in the big corporates. You know, it does lend you to a big choice while you're there and a big choice when you leave.
Fantastic. And the Eden Centre then, how do students link in with that? And it's probably not just exclusive to entrepreneurship students, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, the Eden Centre is literally, the Eden Centre encourages all students. So it's the body, it's the Maynooth body, it's students, it's lecturers, it's pretty much anyone that's involved in the university who could, so someone within that group may have the idea. Someone else may want to work on that idea or have a unique skill. Students who are in the business programs may go, I'm not creative, because we have this idea of someone has to be able to draw. That's not creativity. Creativity is what's going on in the head. And yes, some of us can put it down on paper, but some of us can describe it to someone else who can put those plans down on paper. So the Eden Centre is about bringing that whole community of business, as I said, whether it's lecturers, whether it's some of the businesses we work with, or whether it's the students, and bringing them together into one unit. And there's, for the life of me, I will not remember the name of the program, but I think it's currently running on RTE TV.
Change Makers, is it?
There you go, Change Makers. And, you know, that's strongly featuring people from Maynooth University who are taking real problems that really make a difference for real people in the world, and bringing it back to our creativity hub and designing solutions in the form of services or products that are solving those real world problems. And that's what the Eden Centre is about. It's to drive that community of creativity and entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think I might end with a question for Luke, if that's okay. You mentioned at the top there, Luke, that you almost were questioning whether a degree was for you at all. I mean, given the fact that you felt that you had the drive, you had the ambition, you potentially had the business idea. What do you think the difference is now? And I know it's hard to look back. You have the degree, so how are you going to know what it would be like without the degree? But what do you think having the degree gives you and to your business that you feel that perhaps if you didn't have it, you'd be lacking in something? Or am I way off the mark?
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I suppose it would be kind of the professionalism that I got from university. Like, I was coming out of school in sixth year, you're very raw and not much idea of, well, I hadn't any of kind of what way to go about stuff or how to really do much at all, to be honest. You're just out of school. So I suppose the professional element of being able to write well in university, learning all that stuff, learning communication, as Dermot mentioned, learning networking, speaking to people, knowing that business it's just people. So learning all of that, all that sort of stuff was huge for me. I learned how to position myself in the right way. I suppose there's window cleaners there's thousands of them in Ireland who are going around with a bucket, a squeegee, a ladder, and in a pair of tracksuit bottoms. Whereas what kind of university taught me is that there's an awful lot more. I can transform that into something better. So that's why, like, the cleaning company.ie, we're a kind of premium type brand. We do, as I said, kind of a lot of government work, a lot of kind of high-end commercial clients, also a lot of kind of domestic stuff as well. So it enabled me to see that there was more to this idea. It's not just cleaning windows. It's a very viable business that now we've a kind of a good few vans on the road, and it's going well. And that was only because I was able to do that kind of, just that change into, we're more professional. We deal with customers in a better way. Just all that sort of stuff that I think a lot of that is attributed to the course and to the kind of 4 years of learning and building before I launched. And marketing and branding, all that sort of stuff is kind of just is an awful lot better, I feel, after going to Maynooth and working on all that stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What's next for the cleaningcompany.ie? And would you ever consider returning to education, or do you feel like your days of studying books are behind you?
I probably will at some stage. I remember looking at some of the masters in Maynooth that at the minute I just have I have no time at all as it is. So it's time is a big one, I suppose. I would consider definitely. I remember looking at some of the masters, even some of the part-time ones, that I probably will go back because I enjoy studying. I still enjoy studying. I study business all the time still. So I would consider it down the line when maybe when things are a bit further ahead. Next, for the cleaning company, we launched kind of Ireland's first subscription-based window and gutter cleaning service for domestic clients. That was about a month ago. Well, it was launched for a while, but we properly launched it. So we were covered in the Irish Times and stuff for that recently. So that's, I suppose, the next step is trying to kind of take over a lot of the domestic market in the Greater Dublin area. And we're kind of doing a massive amount of marketing and stuff for that this year. So I suppose next is scaling, and everything is in place for us to just kind of start to really scale and grow. So the next step is.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. How far is your reach? Like, do you come to Kildare?
Yeah, we do.
For instance.
Yeah, no, we do it. The Greater Dublin. So for the likes of the government work, we would kind of go as far as kind of Waterford, Galway. But for the domestic clients, we do the Greater Dublin area. So that's what I call Greater Dublin, kind of anywhere from Drogheda to Kildare to kind of Greystones, that kind of that circle of Dublin we would cover for domestic clients.
Amazing, thank you. I've just launched a little poll there. Now I know we've lost a couple of attendees along the way, but so I just created this there during the week. So had you heard about entrepreneurship? 100% have. That's amazing. And would you attend an on-campus open day? I put that one in. That's a little bit cheeky. 100% yes, they would. I think yes. I mean, as fantastic and all as it is, on a stormy evening, we can get together and we can chat about entrepreneurship, and we can listen to Luke, and we could talk to Dermot about the experiences of the entrepreneurship degree and all that it offers students. And perhaps if it was a rainy night and we had this on campus, we wouldn't be able to come out. So on the one hand, it's fantastic to be able to do this, but I feel it'll be great when we can get back on campus, look at the beautiful library and the spire there and all the new building that's taking place, and talk to each other face to face. So I'm really looking forward to the day that will be able to happen. So we keep that in our mind's eye. And if there aren't any other questions, folks, I think we'll bid you all a good night. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much, Dermot, and for Luke for giving over your time and for telling us all about entrepreneurship, MH411 at Maynooth. And for Luke, and best of luck with the cleaning company. And one little question, or one something has come in here. Thanks for a great session, very informative. You're very welcome, Kate. Absolutely. Listen, stay safe, everyone. And thanks again for your time. Bye.
Thanks, folks. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, absolutely. Bye-bye. Thank you.